This is by far one of the best and most exclusive ways to watch the fireworks, but is it worth the price? Earlier this month, my parents and I had the opportunity to experience one of Walt Disney World's newest dining special events for the 50th anniversary, Celebration at the Top, 50th Flavors and Fireworks at Disney's Contemporary Resort. This special event is similar to one that they had in the past called Sip, Savor, and Sparkle, taking place at the California Grill in 2 of their private banquet rooms, and it is a fireworks dessert party. But it's so much more. And this is a 2-hour event taking place 1 hour before fireworks start for the evening on select nights. This evening started like any other visit to California Grill by checking in at the desk on the 2nd floor of Disney's Contemporary Resort, and we were given a special wristband to identify us for attending this specific event. So for this particular night, our color was green. And then we were taken up in a private elevator to the restaurant and escorted over to the Sonoma and Napa rooms. Then there was a table set up with our welcome peach bellinis, in addition to finding our name placard to put on our table for our family. There were also a few cardboard frames that were specific to the 50th and some other props you can use for pictures that people were taking pictures with outside on the observation decks or just in the hallway, and I thought this was a nice touch kind of specific to the event. As everyone started to take their seats, a line at the bar started to form because one thing special for this event is there is an open bar, and it is available for the full 2 hours of the event, which is awesome. And we had a phenomenal bartender. There were 3 total, but one really shone above the rest. His name was Khalid, but all 3 were fantastic. Khalid just kind of went above and beyond, made some fantastic drinks. He was cleaning the tables. He was holding the door open for people to go outside for the fireworks. He was doing literally everything possible. And every drink that we had from him was absolutely fantastic. A little on the strong side, but not going to complain with that. And to even go above and beyond at the end of the evening, as we were leaving, he kind of ran out behind us to ask if he could take a picture of the 3 of us with my camera since I was taking the pictures. So to get all 3 of us in the picture, which is a very nice touch and very, very nice of him to do so. So moving into the food, how this event is set up is the first hour before fireworks is kind of small plates and appetizers. So they had 3 full buffet tables set up in one of the rooms with several different appetizers. So first up was the famous Sonoma goat cheese ravioli. This has been on the menu for years and is a guest favorite. It's served as one large ravioli dressed with a tomato fennel broth, sun-dried tomatoes, and shiitake mushrooms, and overall the sweetness of the sun-dried tomatoes really melded nicely with the goat cheese and kind of gave a nice balance to that dish. Fantastic. I've gotten this before as an appetizer at California Grill, and it is just as good at this event. Next to that was the Florida lobster bisque. And this was prepared rather interestingly because there were some fillers in the bottom of the bowl, like the lobster meat was in the bottom of the bowl, and then they poured the bisque over top of that. So kind of strange, but overall very, very creamy bisque and tons of lobster pieces in there, which was very nice to see that. This event also offered some different types of sushi. So there were 3 rolls, the first of which is probably the weakest item of the whole evening, and it is the vegetable roll. Nothing really to complain about, just a very basic roll, avocado and cucumber. So nothing too exciting, but overall not terrible. The next roll was the shrimp tempura roll, and this was covered with an orange mango sauce. And while the roll itself was pretty simple with just being tempura shrimp, I thought the sauce really added a nice sweetness without being too overpowering and covering up the flavor of the shrimp. But overall, this is my favorite roll of the 3. The last roll was the Blue Crab California roll. This is your typical California roll, except instead of being the imitation crab, it was stuffed full of blue crab, and the crab was very fresh, very flavorful, but otherwise the roll was, again, pretty simple, just had the crab and some cucumber and avocado as well. Another seafood option that they offered was the Tradito of yellowfin tuna, hamachi, and Verlasa salmon, and everything here tasted extremely fresh. And one thing to note that for all the sushi involved with the night, they did have a little plate set up already with accompaniments. So they had like the soy sauce and wasabi and ginger kind of all ready to go for you to take as well. Next up was one of the more surprising components of the evening, and it was these smoked salmon tartines. And this had a creme fraiche with cucumber and dill. And I will say right off the bat, I am generally not one to pick smoked salmon, but this was fantastic. It was very, very smoky, not fishy tasting at all. And I thought the creme fraiche really blended nicely with the rest of the flavors going on and just overall made a very nice, satisfying bite. There were also some poached shrimp in a jalapeno pineapple sauce, and these were very good, although I will say that the placard made them sound a little bit more exciting. The shrimp were really large and cooked perfectly, but I think the sauce was kind of lacking. It wasn't really thick enough to dip, and it didn't really add too much benefit to the shrimp themselves. The shrimp were just a little too large to dip in the container, but overall still a great dish. Next up was the pork bao bun, which is my personal favorite small plate of the evening. The pork itself was pretty tender and had almost like a teriyaki sweetness to it. So the sweetness of the pork melded nicely with the spiciness of the spicy mayo, and then the crunch from the pickled vegetables melded nicely with the fluffiness of the bao itself. Overall, just a very balanced plate, and I would highly recommend this one. The last small plate item were the beef sliders, and these are basically just classic burgers that were done elegantly. Basically just a soft brioche bun, perfectly cooked burger, topped with cheese and tomatoes and caramelized onions. The sign did say that it had crispy potatoes. If they were on there, I didn't notice them. I don't think they were on there, but I could have missed them. But overall, very good burger. Would get that again as well. Now, shifting gears a bit over to the fireworks, which is kind of the main show of the evening. Guests are invited to walk outside on any of California Grill's observation decks to watch Disney Enchantment, with one of the observation decks being reserved specifically for this special event, which was very nice. And yes, you are allowed to take your cocktail or glass of wine out with you and sip on it during fireworks, which is also a very lovely experience. Now, if you've never watched the fireworks from up here at California Grill, it is a bit different, but very unique and still very magical. You do lose the ability to see the projections, but the music is still piped in, and the fireworks are not really centered on Cinderella Castle. They are more centered over like Space Mountain. But overall, it's a very kind of broad angle view you get of the fireworks. Very cool view, and you do still get to see Tinkerbell fly. You kind of get to see her fly more so than you would, say, on Main Street, because you see the entire journey from the castle over to Tomorrowland. Overall, still a very magical way to watch the fireworks, and I do really love this view of Disney Enchantment. After fireworks, we returned to our table, and there was a special bag waiting at each seat with a little gift. Now, I did read that there was a gift. I did not read what it was in advance, so this was a very pleasant surprise. So there was, in the bag were two things, a card and then a little box. So the card, which is this little card, specific to the event, so celebration at the top, 50th flavors and fireworks at California Grill. And on the back, it says, in 1971, Top of the World opened on the top floor of Disney's Contemporary Resort, offering a unique dining experience with magical views. Over time, the location evolved into the restaurant that we know and love today, California Grill. From the spectacular views of Magic Kingdom Park and Seven Seas Lagoon to the seasonally inspired menus by world-renowned chefs, California Grill remains a favorite for our guests. Tonight, our chefs are delighted to offer seasonally inspired small plates and decadent desserts that offer homage to the opening day menu. We hope you enjoy this enchanting evening of flavors and fireworks during the world's most magical celebration. So, overall, very nice little touch. Did not expect this little thing, but the real kind of shock to the evening was what was in the box. So we opened the box, and it was a very fancy champagne flute. On the one side, it says Etched California Grill, and on the other side is the 50th anniversary logo. This was a nice little surprise. Did not expect this at all. It is glass. And something like this, I would have expected to cost like maybe at least $20 in the gift shops. So overall, a very nice little treat, little present to take home. Remember the evening, remember the 50th anniversary celebration. Just so unexpected and so nice of a little gift to take home, a little souvenir. And while we were watching the fireworks, the staff did transition one of the buffet tables over to desserts. So for desserts, they had quite a few offerings, and absolutely everything was phenomenal. First up was the key lime tart. This was an excellent bite-sized treat topped with a fluffy meringue, and it was rather tart from the key lime. Really nothing to complain about here. Classic, just key lime flavor. Overall, very, very good. Next up was the brownie espresso bar. Now, I have said in the past that I'm not really a fan of the Disney buffet brownies. This one was the exception. So this one was super rich, super fudgy, and it did have a slight espresso flavor. I will say, if you're not a fan of coffee, you might still like this one. Still give it a try. I would equate it more towards like a tiramisu level of espresso flavor and not just like eating a coffee bean level of espresso. So still give it a try. Overall, I thought it was very, very good. Next up was my personal favorite of the evening, the tropical fruit tart. This one had flavors of mango and passion fruit. Presentation for this one was phenomenal. It was topped with like blackberry and an edible tropical flower. Overall, just very smooth and creamy. Highly recommend getting this one if you like kind of the fruity desserts, like a key lime pie aspect. Very, very good. Would get this one again and again every single time. Next up was the sour cream cheesecake with strawberry. This one was another light and creamy dessert. The strawberry added just the right amount of sweetness, and one thing about this one I really enjoyed was the little chocolate coin that had the 50th logo. Nice little touch and special for the event. The last dessert for the evening was the hazelnut pot de creme, and this one is a chocolate lover's absolute dream. Imagine a super creamy and rich Nutella pudding, add some nuts for extra crunch, and add some iridescent sprinkles, and that would be this dessert. My only complaint with this one is I think they could have gone a little bit lighter on the sprinkles, a little sprinkle heavy, but overall still very rich, still very, very, very good, very decadent. This is by far one of the best and most exclusive ways to watch the fireworks, but is it worth the price? The best way to answer this question is to kind of break it down and compare it to something similar that's offered at the same time, which would be the fireworks dessert parties of the Magic Kingdom. The first thing to compare is the fireworks themselves. So in the Magic Kingdom, you would be in the Plaza Garden area if you were doing the dessert party, which is just off the hub, just off of Main Street, and you are sharing the space with other people at the dessert party, so it can get kind of crowded in there. Not to mention the not so magical way of leaving the park with all the congestion after fireworks are over with. Whereas at California Grill, you get to watch the fireworks from a private observation deck, and I was really shocked, even comparing it to the other observation deck at California Grill, how empty the private one was. It was maybe 25 people total on that observation deck, and it was wonderful. And I also can't complain about having a glass of wine to sip while watching fireworks too. That just kind of adds to the magic. As far as the views themselves, in Magic Kingdom you do get the full-on experience of the show with the projections and everything involved, whereas California Grill, it's off-centered, you lose the projections, but still very different ways to watch fireworks, both magical in their own way. The next consideration is the timing aspect. So Magic Kingdom's dessert parties are 1 hour in length, whereas California Grill is 2. And kind of tying along with that is the food comparison, which really is no question. Magic Kingdom's is a dessert party, and it is just that, desserts. And even on the Disney website, it bills it as including chocolate-dipped strawberries, butterscotch pudding, and a variety of cheeses. Now, I would think that if you want to really sell your dessert party, you'd want to put your most extravagant items in the menu. I have not been to this dessert party, but it seems if that's what they're going to be pushing is the chocolate-dipped strawberries as their kind of featured dessert, doesn't sound as exciting as California Grill's. Just saying. And in addition to that, California Grill has the full hour of small plates, a full hour of desserts, plus an open bar for the full 2 hours. Magic Kingdom does have alcohol included if you're 21 or older, but it's just a small selection of wine and beer. The next consideration is the gift. So in my searching of the Magic Kingdom dessert parties, I did not see any mention of a special gift at the end of the night, whereas California Grill, I was not expecting it, but that was a pretty nice little etched champagne toasting flute. And like I said earlier, I would probably price that around $20, $25 if you were to get it in the gift shop. So a very, very nice little special perk to the evening for California Grill. And then the last and probably biggest consideration for anybody booking these special events is the price. So the Magic Kingdom dessert parties are $99 per person for the pre-fireworks party or the post-fireworks party. There is a third option for if you want a seat during fireworks, and that is $114 per person. All these prices include tax, and it says gratuity is not included, but it's also not required. Whereas California Grill is $129 per person, plus gratuity, plus tax, which ends up being like $160 per person. So definitely a very large increase. You're talking basically $60 more per person, but you get a more elegant fireworks party, you get an open bar for 2 hours, you get small plates, you get a special gift, and in my opinion, well worth it. For this particular night, the fireworks started a little bit earlier because there was a Boo Bash that night. So our California Grill experience actually started at 7, which is a great timing-wise for the dinner aspect of it, as well as the dessert. So we weren't eating too late. We didn't really have a meal beforehand, so worked out perfectly. I think we got our money's worth out of it, especially with the new pricing structure at California Grill, having the prefix menu. Well worth it for paying $160 a person to experience this event. One thing to note for both of these events, fireworks are not guaranteed. So if there were to be a large storm to cancel the fireworks, the event still would go on. And in that case, I'd rather be spending $160 for the California Grill experience versus spending $99 for just chocolate dipped strawberries. So there is that to consider too. Another pretty big consideration is for the California Grill event, you don't need park admission. So if it's going to be on your arrival day or your departure day, and you don't really want to spend an additional ticket for going to the park for just the party, the California Grill could be a very good option for you. Overall, do I think it was worth it? Absolutely yes. I want to go back here again so badly. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to take Hannah here, but we will see when we can make that work and if we can get a reservation. It is not offered every night, so it is select nights. There's really no pattern either. It was like random days of the week. It's not like it's every Friday and Saturday. So just be sure to check the schedule well in advance and try to book that reservation as early as you possibly can, because they will fill up. From our kind of brief counting, it seemed like maybe 50 people total for this event. Again, just kind of counting the tables and figuring how many people were at each table. A rough estimate was about 50 people total for this event. So very exclusive event. If it's like 50 people, maybe twice a week, very, very exclusive, but well worth it. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little look at Celebration at the Top 50th Flavors and Fireworks at Disney's Contemporary Resort. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried out this event, and let me know what your thoughts were. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you real soon.